Good morning, all of you. This is Nani Babu. I'm working as a chemistry faculty in Bharati Ujjabam Startapallikudam. Today, I would like to tell about the topic in chemistry, especially ninth class chemistry, matter in our surroundings. This is the first lesson of ninth class chemistry. Before I can start the lesson, we can understand what is matter. When we observe our surroundings, everything is made up of different shapes. Everything has a different shapes, sizes, and textures. That means what? The things which are present in our surroundings, which is made up of some materials. These materials are scientists named as matter. What is it? These materials are scientists named as matter. Matter means nothing is everything is in our surroundings is a matter. Example, food, what we can eat, air, what we can breathe, stones, stars, plants, human beings, animals, all these are all considered as a matter. According to definition of matter, the substance which occupies space and having mass, we can call that matter. These are all the examples of matter. These are all examples of matter. For example, for determining these matter, our ancient, for example, our early times, early Indian philosophers also they are classified. This matter is made up by 5 general things. What is that 5 general things? They are also be created. The name is Panchatatvas. In our language, we can call that Panchabhutas, same like that, Panchatatvas. What is that Panchatatvas means? Air, earth, fire, water, sky. Basing on these 5 factors, these 5 things, the matter is created. They felt like that, they believe this matter also be. What is that? After that, the Greek philosopher also be, they can arrived similarly like this only. And these are after that, modern chemistry developed and modern scientists came. They gives the different and also new explanation about the matter, and also they are classified this matter basing on their physical properties and chemical reactions. In this chapter, we will go for only physical properties. What is the characteristics of matters, particles, we will discuss here. And chemical reactions, chemical properties, we will go for next lesson. Before we can go for the physical properties of matter, first of all, matter is made up of very small tiny particles. What is that? Matter is made up of what? Very small tiny particles. The particles which are come close to each other, which gives us some substance, these substance they are called that matter. Everything has a characteristics. These particles also be having different properties and characteristics also be. Here we can go for discuss about characteristics of particles. These characteristics are here, 3 are there. First one is that they are continuously moving. That is the one of the characteristic. What means continuously moving means in anything, any substance, any matter, the which are particles present in that matter, they are always in moving. And next one is what they're having spaces between them. That means these particles which are arranged in a matter, they are having some spaces between each particles. And next one is what they attract to each other. That means what the particles which are present in matter, they are always attract with each other, attract with one another. That means they're having some internal attraction force exist. We will discuss those characteristics one by one here. First characteristic of particles is particles of matter are continuously moving. What is this? First of all, in any matter, the containing particles, the particles which is having some energy, due to this energy, they are continuously moving in any substance. That's the reason this continuously moving energy, we can call that kinetic energy. Due to this kinetic energy, the particles having movement. And this kinetic energy also be having different states are there in different mediums. For example, at cool state, the particles are moving very slowly. At high temperature, with increasing of temperature, the particles are moving very fastly. That's the reason what happens here. The kinetic energy increases with the increase in temperature. That's the reason the particle movement is also be increases. So now we can do some activity. Is particles are really moving or not? For example, I will take 100 ml of water in a glass beaker, and I can add 1 or 2 drops of ink to that water. What happens? After some time, the ink will spread will spread throughout the water uniformly. That means what? Because of particles are moving in a water, due to that reason the ink will be going to be spread throughout the water, throughout the water uniformly. That's the reason, look at there, particles present in water is always present in movement. Due to this reason, ink particles uniformly spread throughout the water. What we can observe by this activity? Here, particles which are present in your water, those are all moving in state. That's the reason the ink we can add to that water, the ink going to be spread throughout uniformly throughout the solution. By this activity you can observe, okay, particles are moving in a solution or things. For example, I can tell about another activity. What is that? You can take a cold water and also add some sugar to that one. What happens? The sugar going to be dissolved in that water, and you can add more sugar to that one. After some time the sugar does not dissolve into that, but at that situation you can try to warm that water and heat that water. What happens? Whenever you can try to heat that water, the water get warmed. After that you can add some more sugar, it's going to be dissolved. Because here what happens, whenever you can add to the heat to that water, the particles having kinetic energy, it will be increased. Due to that reason what happens, the particle movement is increases. That's the reason the dissolving of sugar is also be increases. This is the another example of particles having continuously motion in any things or matter. The movement of particles present in a matter the particles movement is also be different in different types of matters. What is the movement? Look at there, solids, liquids, gases, these are all there. In that, particle movement in solids is minimum. Why? Because the particles which are present in solids, those are all very close to each other. That's the reason the movement is going to be very slow. That's the reason here what happens, movement of particles in solid is minimum. When compared to the solids, liquids having somewhat more movement is there, because the particles in water, the particles in water, those are all having high spaces. That's the reason the movement in liquids is more. When compared to the liquids, gases having more spaces between them. That's the reason the movement is very, very high, maximum in that gases. The second characteristics of particles of matter is having spaces between them. Particles of matter having spaces between them. For checking about this, I can select some example. What is it? Somewhat I can take 100 ml of water. For that purpose, I can take 100 ml of water and I can add 10 grams of sugar to that one. After that, I can get only 10 ml of sugar solution. What happens here? Here, the volume does not increases. Why it is happens? For checking purpose, I can do an activity. What is that? Take a water in 100 ml. Take a 100 ml of water in a glass. After that, I can add. Here, look at there. The water particles present in glass. The particles I can mention here, black color spots. These are all water particles. And after that, I can add sugar to this water. After some time, I can go for dissolving the sugar into that water. The sugar particles which are there, I can mention red color ink. The sugar particles which are there, those are all get insert in between the water particles. If you observe one thing, what happens here, one matter particle is get insert between the another matter particles spaces. This is we can call that diffusion. Diffusion. By this activity, by this example, what we can observe is here matter having particles. In that matter, the particles which is having some spaces. Due to that reason, another matter particle will get insert into that spaces. This insertion, that means the particles having spaces, this is we can call that diffusion. By this activity, what I can observe here, the particles of matter having spaces in between them. And these spaces like that, before we discuss the continuous moving in different things, having different matters, having different ratios, same like that here. Spaces which are present in matter, which are also be different for different matters, different things like solids, liquid, gases. Here the space between particles in solids are minimum and liquids are more and gases are maximum. Why? Because look at here, it is a solid example. In that solid, the particles which are present in that solid, those are all very tightly packed with one another. That means in between those are having force of attraction very high. That's the reason here the less the spaces between the particles which are is there very less. That's the reason here the spaces between the particles, especially in solids, is minimum. You can go for liquids. Liquids, look at there, in that liquids the particles which are having some spaces, more spaces when compared to the solids. That's the reason more. And we can go for gases. Gases having very freely particles. That's the reason which is having more spaces between particles. This is the maximum in gases. These are all the matter having spaces between them. Third characteristic of particles is particles of matter attract each other. Particles of matter attract each other. We can observe up to now solids, liquids, gases. They having particles as well, but in solids they having very tight, very close to each other particles, and liquids having somewhat more spaces when compared to the solids, and gases having more spaces when compared to the solids, liquids. That means here the particles which are present in any matter or things, they having some force of attraction. Now we can go for, is this right or wrong? You can go for checking. Look at there, for example, not this example, for example, you can go for use any iron piece, or for your understanding purpose, I can take a pen. I can strike this pen with another pen or iron. This is the iron only. Iron. What happens? In one striking it does not breaking, and the striking does not breaking. After 2 to 3 strikings it will be break. Why this iron does not breaking means here the particles which are present in iron is having so much of force of attraction between them. Due to that reason the particles does not break to each other. It is one of the example of particles having some force of attraction between them. Another thing, you can observe some tap water. You can observe this is the tap water. You can place any object here. What happens? The running of water going to be this place to this place, and after what happens, you can place here any object. The water particles will going to be distract here, break here, and also after that is coming their original position. What happens? Because here object is there, that's the reason the water particles going to be able to break here. After object here is going to be attract each other. Because why it is happens means because these water particles having some attraction force. By this activity, and before what we can discuss, iron will strike the other iron particles. What happens? Iron does not going to be break, because in any matter iron or water particles, they having some attraction in between them. That's the reason it does not break. This attraction we can call as force of attraction. What is that? Intermolecular force of attraction. What we can observe, okay, particles which are present in the matter, those are all having some attraction. These attraction we can call as intermolecular force of attraction. This force of attraction also be different, present in different manner in different things like solids, liquid, gases. Look at the same thing. In solids, the particles very close to each other. They having very high molecular attraction or force of attraction. Due to that reason, they are tightly packed with that. That's the reason solid going to be very strong. And when you can go for the liquid having particles, but when compared to the solids, liquid having somewhat less force of attraction between their particles. And you can go for the gases, which is very less force of attraction exists in between them. These are all the characteristics of particles present in a matter.